Changing your tubes and tires on the bicycle is fairly straightforward business. There are a couple of numbers to pay attention to. It starts here with the numbers on the wheel. It's usually printed on the rim somewhere. This one reads 26 by 1.50, 26 inches by 1.5 inches. Even though it comes from a metric country, Japan, it's made to work with inches, okay? So you have to go with those numbers. It's not a metric rim. 26 inches is the diameter of the wheel, and 1.5 inches, inch and a half, is the width of the rim here. So you have to match the inner tubes, such as this one. You can see the numbers on it. 26 by 1.5. Okay, the numbers have to match, and here is one for the tire. Now, sometimes, where is this box? Sometimes tubes are sold this way because they stretch a little bit. It fits either an inch and a half or inch and 3/4 rim. So sometimes the tire also fits a little wider or a little narrower. It could be plus or minus a 1/4 inch. It'll still work. When you mount this inner tube, you have to make sure, and this is why this failed, that the valve stem, this one, comes out vertically through the rim. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean by vertically. Or comes out square to the rim. So this is how it looks like when it's done well. And if you don't have enough pressure in the tire, the tube and the rim will slip, and it's gonna look like it's gonna go in a little bit, and it's gonna look like this. The problem with this one is that it will slip and move when underinflated. It will continue to slip and move, and this is why this particular tube needs to be changed. Let me just put it in the sunshine here. You see that one on the rubber? You see what happened to the edge of the valve stem? Yeah, it's leaking air right there where it's chewed up. And let me see if I can do it with one hand. There, anyhow, it's leaking air right there. Alright, because it wasn't placed properly. The bicycle was operated with underinflated tires. So this one, garbage. I'm gonna mount the new, and you'll see how it looks like. Mounting a tube and a tire on a bicycle wheel is super straightforward, and usually it doesn't need any tools. I'll show you what I mean. On the inside of the rim there is this rubbery or plasticky tape. It's somewhat flexible usually. I do this with it, make sure that it's not too dirty. Whatever comes off, it's on my hand. There. I don't want it too dirty, because what this one does, it holds the little nuts called spoke nipples inside the... Alright, it doesn't want to come out now when I need it. Inside the rim, okay, you get the idea. Those little spoke nipples are there, and any length of the spoke sticking out through it, or the sharp edges around it. Here, let's take a look at one. Let's see, do we have good light for it? Yeah, somewhat. There, just get the camera a sec. Okay, I'm not moving it. There, you can see it does have sharp edges. Okay, so that's why this tape is covering it. So make sure that this tape is in place everywhere, all around. Once it is in place, like so, good. Now you can put your tire on. Put half the tire on, which means just like so, just half the tire. just this much. Okay, there, half the tire is on. It's gonna have these funny flat spots or collapsed spots because it usually spends the last few months tied, you know, in a small box, usually zap strapped together. And then you take the inner tube and you put in with a bicycle pump or any kind of pump that has the Schrader valve. I don't know, a breath of air, a little bit. Don't make it. It's super flat in its packaging, and just put some air in it. Okay. It's gonna be making it easier to place it. And then you just find where that's where the valve stem goes through the rim. In this case, it's gonna be there. And make it through there. And of course it's not going through because my tape is out of place, so the tape has to be rotated a little bit, just like so. Okay, now the valve stem is gonna go through, and just so I don't fight it all the way all the time, I just put on the valve cap a little bit, so that's kinda gonna keep it from sliding it out. Alright, and then just use your fingers and tuck the tube into the tire, just not the entire length because it's not gonna totally fit. Alright, just a portion of it, like so. And then when the tube is inside the tire, start placing the tire's other half into the rim, just like so. It's all done by hand, just like so. Alrighty, now, like I said, it doesn't need tools or whatever. Everything just stays together. Okay, you might want to turn the wheel horizontal so it stops popping out or whatever, because I have to turn it vertical for the camera for most of the work, but I'm gonna turn it horizontal now, and I'll let you know when. Yeah, these little zigs that you get in the tire, in the tube, you tuck it away carefully. It's gonna be straight. Okay, it's not gonna stay ziggy there. You know, do your best to even it out. Once it's inflated, it's gonna be nice and even. Okay, so let me just work my way around it. Of course, it's new and it wants to spread and it's popping out all the time. Just give me 2 minutes. Alright, that was more like 40 seconds. So the tube is inside the tire, and the tire's wire beads. There's a wire here in the edge of the tire, is almost everywhere in. There's the last little bit, and it just pops in usually. Now this tire is a little wider. It's 1.75, not 1.5, so it's a little easier to put it on. And basically the two things are together. Next thing to do is, there's my valve stem, and put a little bit of air in it. Like so. Just, here is my pump so you can see some of it. There, just about that much. Very little air. So you can do this. You can check it and make sure that the tube is not bulging out here between the rim and the bead of the tire. Okay, make sure that the tube is inside the tire everywhere. So I pinch it, I look on both sides, look at this side, look at this side. I just check it, alright, with very little air in the tube, just like so. So this one is gonna seat or position the tube nicely and evenly. There, looking good, looking good everywhere, and the tape is still in place, which I'm also looking at. Yeah, looking good, looking good. You can see sometimes you can see the tape's numbers showing up. Well, okay, maybe it's not from this camera angle. Okay. Alrighty, we went around, and the valve stem, if you need to adjust your valve stem, now is the time, or deflate it a little bit, so you can rotate it like so. This hand pulling it this way, this hand rotating it that way. Okay, you can position the valve stem so that it's perpendicular to the rim. If you're happy with this one, let me see. Am I happy with this one? Yeah, that's pretty close. Alrighty, I can put in some air, and no, that's not good. That's hissing air. And on this tire, on every tire, some kind of pressure figures are mounted on the tire. Let's see what's on this one, other than Kanda. Okay, maximum recommended inflation pressure 40 to 65 psi. Here, look up a little bit. Okay, there it is. Let's make it sharp. This way. Can you guys read it? Maybe this way. There, inflation pressure 40 to 65 psi. There it is. So what I have here, foot pump, super simple. You can see the needle moving. Can you see the needle moving there? Yeah, needle's gonna be moving there. There's barely anything in it so far. There, take a look at it. You can see where it's gonna be 40 psi and 60 psi. The big gray numbers are psi, the other ones are bars. So that's how it goes. Super straightforward. When I hit 40, this one is good to go. Yeah. I want to make sure that the tube is seated inside really well. Alright, that's basically the lay of the land. Well, getting to 40 at this time, we are at around 20 psi, so basically we're done with this one. And before I mount it into a bicycle, I just leave it there for an hour and check it again in an hour's time to see what its pressure is doing. Alright, 40 psi. Alright, maybe a little more there. We're done with this one. How's the valve stem? Nah, I don't like that. I don't like this valve stem. It's not perpendicular enough to my liking. I'm going to deflate it and fix it. But that's basically how it's going.